Good day everyone, I'm David, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is Form 1099 MISC and 1099 NEC Compliance Update 2024. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, Jason Dynison. Jason Dynison, LPA, EA, is an entrepreneur, tax expert, and CPE presenter. He has coached over 200K accounting, taxes, and HR professionals on various accounting topics, individual taxation, corporate taxation, and professional ethics. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Jason.
All right. Thank you, David. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 1099 webinar. Good to have you with us for a 90-minute session. I will say, David introduced me. I've been presenting, so I'm a practicing accountant in the state of Iowa, and I do prepare tax returns, but a lot of what I do anymore is teach, just like this. And 1099s is something that I've been teaching on since 2012. It was the first thing I ever taught on in 2012. Not because I had any special knowledge on the subject back then, but just because there was this place that was putting on an in-person seminar at a hotel conference room, an 8-hour seminar on 1099s, and they went down this list of tax professionals in the area, and they called around until they found enough gullible souls to say, sure, I'll come teach a few hours at this seminar. And so that's how I got started on this, was at a hotel conference room in April of 2012 on 1099s. I've been teaching consistently on 1099s ever since. I have 30 different topics that I teach on. Well, this is a platform where the highlighted area like carries forward to the next slide. So then you have to fumble around and make sure that you can find the erase. There we go. These are live. You just never know what's going to happen in a live session. All right, now let's talk about some different compliance issues. Correcting errors. Why file corrections if you discover an error? The answer is that the law says you must file a complete and accurate form by the due date, so by January 31st, for example. If you file a form with something wrong on it, more than a de minimis dollar amount error, so no social security number, I bet a lot of you have dealt with this. This is a very common situation. You file a 1099 or you pay a contract and you never got a social security number from them. And people wonder, what do we do? All right, another compliance topic, reimbursements to contractors. So when you reimburse an expense of your contractor, all right, then we get into how you make the payments. So specific to contract labor in the 1099 NEC, if you pay with your company credit card or debit card, or some third-party processors. Now you're probably looking at that and saying, what on earth is a third-party processor? We will answer that, complete with a nice little visual aid that I created in just a minute. For now, let's just leave it as you pay with your company card or a third-party processor. You don't issue a 1099 NEC. Instead, the processor, whoever is handling these transactions, they'll issue a reporting form called a 1099-K. Let's talk about payment to corporations. Payment to corporations are generally not reported on a 1099. Now note the word generally, the 3 exceptions where corporations do get 1099. What exactly is contract labor? I'm not going to read all of this to you. We've talked about most of this. This right here is the citation if your contractor argues with you about the parts or materials and, oh, you don't need to 1099 me for the parts, just the labor. This is the exact quote here. It actually is in another place in the instructions also, so it comes up 2 times. That parts or materials count as contract labor if supplying the parts or materials is incidental to providing the service. 1099 miscellaneous. We've already covered some things like medical and health care, gross proceeds paid to an attorney. We touched on other income. Would be also things like awards and prizes. Sometimes if you're paying deceased employees after they've passed away, you might have a reporting obligation under other income. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us. If you think of questions offline, just send them in and David will make sure they get forwarded on to me to get a response. Thanks so much and have a great day.
Thank you, Jason. That does conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead.